Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at the Lexus RCF Blue Fuji Speedway Edition. Huge shout out to 704 Exotics for providing this vehicle for me today. Definitely take a look at their website because they have a lot of pretty cool pre-owned inventory. That link is down in the description. So this Fuji Speedway Edition is finished off in a very exclusive electric surge semi-matte with all the carbon fiber accents. It had a starting MSRP of $102,000. It is also one of 50 that was produced, so it's pretty cool to be able to check this out. It also pays tribute to Fuji Speedway, which is on Mount Fuji in Japan, and it's also where the first testing grounds were for Lexus for their sports cars. So it's a really cool tribute model for this RCF. Now underneath the hood, this is still powered by the naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 paired to that 8-speed automatic transmission. It pumps out 472 horsepower, 395 pound-feet of torque. This is rear-wheel drive. It's also 200 pounds lighter than a standard RCF, so it weighs in right around 3,700 pounds, meaning it'll do 0 to 60 in just under 4 seconds. Top speed is 168, and it has a fuel capacity of 17.4 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 107.5 inches. Its overall length is 185.4. It has a width of 72.6, a height of 54.7, and its ground clearance measures in at 5.1 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this special edition RCF, right off the bat, you will notice all the carbon fiber that I mentioned earlier. So the entire hood is finished off in carbon fiber with a functional heat extraction vent right in the middle and some nice lines that run down both sides. So it's a very distinctive part for this special edition, along with the carbon fiber for that lower spoiler. I think it's really nice, especially with this exterior blue. Now on the normal RCF, we still have the forward-facing sensor, which is in that Lexus badge, the hourglass design for that grille with the black chrome for the entire surround, separating it very nicely. There's also huge inlets underneath both corners of the grille, along with the inlets on both sides, and then all of the cutouts in that grille. And of course, it still retains the LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with that triple beam design in the vertical pattern with that DRL and then the turn signal on the top there. I love that crisp point where the DRL comes to that inner side of the hourglass grille. Now for the side for this RCF, this has the ultralight forged wheels along with carbon ceramic brakes. This is also a staggered setup. They're 19 by 9 up front, 19 by 10 in the rear. You can see the red brake calipers too, which is a nice accent color. Now the F badge is just behind that, along with this trim piece that is functional just behind that front tire. There's more carbon fiber underneath the side skirt there, and then a triple color design for these power folding side mirrors, body colored gloss black, as well as the chrome and the integrated turn signal. And this also has a full carbon fiber roof to match that carbon fiber hood, which is a great touch to see. Another one of the weight savings for this particular model. All of the window trim is finished off in black too, just to match nicely. And then there's really nice lines that run down the side. Check out this curvature in that lower side skirt. Huge indentation right in the back, leading all the way to the trim piece up front, back to the line going right through the door handle. Now the most distinctive part for the rear end is the massive fixed carbon fiber spoiler. It's going to be hard to see on camera, but in person, you can actually see the F logo kind of embroidered in the carbon fiber on the side, if that's the right word. But it's a really nice subtle touch to see that F badge. And then of course to have that massive carbon fiber wing. Now this has the backup camera, all the parking sensors, LED taillights, and then there's gloss black and carbon fiber in the diffuser with that staggered quad tip dual exhaust, which is a really unique touch to see. That's of course normal on a regular RCF, but I think it's cool just in general to see that. Now as we move on to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or the one up underneath to easily open this up, and you actually have a good amount of space. So this is a practical everyday type of sports car. I haven't found that the back seats fold down, but you still get plenty of space. There's a little bit underneath the floor if you want to utilize that. And of course you have different accessories that you can place in the back just depending on your preference. Now there's a grab handle on one side, and even with that spoiler, it's carbon fiber, so it's very lightweight. So it's a really lightweight trunk overall. Now as we work our way to the interior, The door panel has a beautiful design. You will see all the Alcantara and blue stitching, a little bit of storage space in the lower section, and then there's also blue integrated into the carbon fiber. So there's that hint of blue. Fuji Speedway Edition, number 20 of 50 is the model we are looking at today. There's all the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments too. And the Lexus F Sport badge is down on the door sill there. And then moving on to these seats with the F badge up in the headrest, we have a lot going on with the blue, the Alcantara, the leather, very nice sport bucket seat with all the automatic adjustments down on the side. Now this is also a 4-seater coupe, so if I release the backrest, that seat will work its way forward, giving me plenty of space at 5'10" to hop into the back, where we have the same attention to detail for these back seats, which is nice. There's also an armrest. As you can tell with this seat all the way back, virtually no leg room, but you could make it work, of course, moving that forwards. So at 5'10", I could ride around town. You're not buying this to put people in the back every single day, but I'm just touching the headrest here. So if I needed a ride, I could definitely make it work. There's air vents right in the middle, and then a little bit of storage space. No armrest or anything, but it is nice. We have more Alcantara here. It's nice if you needed to ride in the back. And then from there, once we lock that seat back, it will go back into the position that it was in. So as we hop into the front seats now, we have Alcantara for this steering wheel. Very nice to see that with blue Alcantara in the lower section and that F badge. On this left side, there's volume along with tuning, Bluetooth and voice commands. On the right side, lane keeping assist, distance pacing, and then all these are for the gauge cluster. Now this also has paddle shifters with the hint of blue in plus and minus. Very nice subtle touch to see. Let's fire this up though so we can go over all of this info so we can bring this to life. And looking at the gauge cluster, currently on that left side, there are some vitals that are shown along with Bluetooth. Right in the middle is the tach, along with miles per hour, what gear you're in, and then on the far right is the speedometer. Now over on that left side, using buttons on the right side of the steering wheel, I can scroll through some more of this information. So there's the cruise and lane keeping assist, any messages. You can also scroll through all of the safety features like the pedestrian detection, lane departure, and you have a few other speed and vehicle settings to go into. And then you can monitor your gear position along with your sway warning. So if you've been driving this for a long period of time, it will tell you when it's time to pull over and take a break. There's also units, there's a calm setting, and then you have some averages like your range and your refuel along with your tire pressure, and then back to the gear position. You can also look at some history. So you have some lap timers, G-force meter, and then back to that lap timer there. You can pull up the compass, and then we are back to the music. So it's nice that you have all of that front and center. Really easy to go through that. Cruise control is also over on that right side. Now on the left side of the steering wheel, there's the blind spot monitoring along with the parking sensors you can turn on and off. There's the rear defroster, auto headlights, and then odometer and dimmer switches for the gauges. The trunk release is located down below as well. There's one air vent, even more of the blue Alcantara for the entire cover for that gauge cluster. Now right in the middle for this infotainment system, it is not touchscreen. In order to go through all of that, those controls are located down below. So there's map and menu along with the trackpad and a back button. So if I click on menu right now, in that lower section, there's destination, audio and phone, apps. Projection is how you can pair your phone to the system. So that's how you can use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. There's info, setup, and then even climates to go into. So it's a pretty easy system to use with this trackpad system. You can just click on it itself to enter all this information and then just scroll through what you would like to go through. So it's fairly easy to go through, not a whole lot of info, but it is laid out very well. And then underneath that, there's a clock with an air vent on both sides. All the climate adjustments are laid out very nicely for your fan speed, temperature, you have recirc and a few other controls. And then power and volume for the radio, tuning, as well as a CD player right in the middle with the rest of those controls. And then a little bit of storage space in front of the shifter, which is finished off in Alcantara with more of that stitching. If I put it into reverse, that is the backup camera, and then you can use that trackpad to go through the different angles as well as being able to adjust those guidelines too. So very simple to go through. If If you put it into drive, you can pop it over into the manual setting, so you can shift using this or the paddle shifters themselves. And then to the right of that, there's launch control, traction control, and then the different driving modes. So by twisting on that dial to the right, we can go into Sport S. Doing that one more time is Sport S Plus. To the left is going to be Eco, and then normal is just by pushing down on that dial. And then there's two cup holders on the right side, a little bit of storage right in front of the armrest, where if I open this up, there's some more auxiliaries so you can charge electronics and a little bit of space. Even more of the blue carbon fiber on the glove box cover, where you have a good amount of space on the inside. Plenty of nice subtle blue accents running throughout. Alcantara's on the headliner, plenty of visibility even with that fixed wing. You can see above and below it, so it doesn't really hinder any visibility. Up top, there's the touch sensitive dome lights along with some call buttons on the back side. Well, now let's go ahead and get this out on the road. As we set off now behind the wheel for this Fuji Speedway Edition RCF, you'll notice too that this has blue seat belts, which is another great accent for this interior. So this is one of 50 that was made, so it's pretty cool to check this out. First and only time I think I will see one of these special edition models. What I really like about the RCF is that this is a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8. So in a world where a lot of vehicles are going for smaller engines, Lexus is making some other hybrid systems, going to some smaller 2-liter engines as well. They are still keeping some of the naturally aspirated engines, which I know a lot of people, at least driving enthusiasts, really like about it. Because you get that great V8 sound. Now, of course, if you put on an aftermarket exhaust, you could make this even that much louder. But I think that's what a lot of people like about the RCF. If it still has that NA engine, which is reliable and it sounds good. Now, what I also love about this is the fact that they were able to shed 200 pounds over a standard RCF. So while there's no increase in horsepower, 200 pounds is a significant amount. I don't even weigh that much, so that's a good bit of weight reduced from this to give it even more handling characteristics. You have more power with launch control. I'm sure this really rips. 0 to 60 from what I found, 3.8, 3.9 seconds, maybe 4 seconds, depending on the traction you can get with those rear wheels. But that's a significant improvement. So I think that's awesome that they actually did something with this special edition model. They didn't just give it all of these cosmetics, they actually made it a little bit better, of course, weighing less. It's going to handle much better. Lower center of gravity, we've got the upgraded brakes, really good suspension too. So this is basically a track car. It was basically designed at a racetrack. It was engineered and ready to go. So if you're looking for a special edition RCF, if you can find one of the 50, this is a really cool option to go with. It's a Lexus too, so it's very comfortable to drive, very quiet as well. So I mean, this is a perfect daily driver. It's a perfect track backroads car. It's practical too with the amount of space that is offered in it. You really can't go wrong if you can find one. Because like I said, this is probably the only one that I am going to see. It's the only one that I've seen so far. I didn't even know that they made this, to be honest. That sounds so good. I would love to hear it with an upgraded exhaust because I'm sure this would really rip. And the pedals seem to be very responsive too. It would be cool to maybe see a manual. I don't think Lexus will do that at all. But you got some drama to the shifts. So it definitely gets up and moves. Manual would be cool, but it's very, very quick with these paddles. And from second gear, here we go. And I'm short shifting it today, but this has so much more potential than I'm throwing at it. It would be very cool to take this on some back roads, really test this 6-figure performance from this special edition RCF. That NA V8, you can't go wrong with. Definitely a good sounding vehicle, and I love how quickly those paddles respond. So in this Fuji Special Edition, we have a really nice interior. Like I said earlier, it's really cool to see some of the subtle changes over a standard RCF, like all of the blue carbon fiber, all of the blue accents. It's interesting that they picked blue. I'm a huge fan of it, but it's interesting. This is the only color that the 50 came in. But other than the cosmetic changes, they did make some upgrades where this is completely different than a normal RCF. So I really like that aspect to it. Some of these things you could probably do on a normal RCF, but if you just want to get it as is, we have a beautiful, beautiful spec. But since it's a Lexus, it's going to give you all the refinements of a luxury vehicle, and it gives you that performance. Now, we can test the handling a little bit for this roundabout. Obviously, nothing crazy today, but there's zero body roll going around this turn. And there's going to be plenty of power to get out of the turns as well. So it's a really good handling sports car from Lexus that still has that NA engine available. I also just noticed too, just how far back these side mirrors are. It gives you a lot more visibility in front of them, which is great. Interesting design to see how far back they are, but that gives you that extra space, especially over the passenger side. But it's definitely a cool and practical vehicle. And I think that's gonna wrap it up for this Lexus RCF Blue Fuji Speedway Edition. Huge shout out to 704 Exotics again for providing this for me today. Check out their website, give the video a huge thumbs up, and also consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.